And we are live. Today we are talking about some kind of new but old news. It's been a month now that this news is out, and I feel like it's still kind of trending because I've seen a lot of new videos on my feed because more intel, more statement were made, not necessarily by Brett Cooper, but by a lot of people around that circle. And this is what we are talking about today. How are you, the Lord?
Oh, I am good. I mean, it's the disillusion of or the people personalities leaving a media organization isn't big. Like it's not as well. It's not nothing new, because I was telling Multi before we started about Fox News in the wake of the Roger Ailes lawsuit. A lot of major personalities either shifted or left. And I've been trying to figure out what's been going on with the Daily Wire for a while, because Candace Owens was one of the first ones to leave. Well, not really left, she was fired, but and then she had her major breakup with Ben Shapiro by the One True King line. If you know that one, Multi.
I heard about it, but I
Which
don't
some
really
call
know what
very
it
anti
refers to.
Semitic.
Oh, okay.
One True King, Jesus is King, Judaism, it's not a real religion.
I
Yeah,
think none of the religion are real, but that's another topic
yeah.
for another day. It's a
But no, that's
construct made by
actually why
humans.
Candace Owens, and then in the wake of the One True King, and so who's left at Daily Wire? Matt Walsh, like Ben Shapiro,
Yeah.
and there's rumors. Suppose last I actually heard of Daily Wire, and I can't say for certain, is they're looking to be sold.
Oh my. Okay.
Someone's looking to buy them.
But it's stupid if that's true. It's stupid that they
Or
they
they were
kind
gonna
of
buy Timcast basically, because like Tim Pool was supposed to join it.
if it's true, they are stupid because they kind of showed the door to Brett Cooper, and she had a lot of influence. So losing her would uh down the price. If you lose assets like that, um, you will make less money if you sell off, or I don't know how to
Do you
word it properly.
remember what's the name of the other? It was one of the first. It was a black girl. I have to remember her name. She split off from the Daily Wire long time ago. This
I
was
have
like a
no idea who you're talking
no.
about,
It's
but
somebody I have to remember that it's like most people wouldn't remember her. She has a YouTube channel. She split off a long time ago, and she was working with the Blaze as well. So, but you also never know really with like the Daily Wire or why a personality leaves an organization.
yeah. And I gotta say, to get back to what I was saying a bit earlier, and then we will truly start talking about that. But if they really want to sell off their asset to another network, or if someone wants to purchase it, getting rid of Brett Cooper was a bad move because you lose value. She is value, in fact. So I let's just
Well,
hear
the
about
rumor,
that
well, I
video.
say the rumor, the idea is they're either reorganizing because Daily Wire, either they're going to try to get bought up by a larger or they're reorganizing their stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's just one of those things of, and usually why a personality leaves a network, because what made the Daily Wire what it is was the editorial style people. Now, Brett Cooper is good, but she was an editorialist. Well, let you continue.
Yeah. So I guess we will hear that message. It's all about her departure now.
and the rumors are mostly true. Today, December 10th, will be my last day hosting the comment section and working for the Daily Wire. It is not true that I am being forced out. It was my own choice to leave. And believe me, this is bittersweet. I have had the most unbelievable 3 years.
I gotta say, I think this is pure. I think this is BS. It's not really your choice. Any thoughts on that?
I mean, Candace Owens was a like that's not the one I was thinking about earlier, but Candace Owens you kind of saw coming because Candace Owens is a horrible human being because she's like Miles Yiannopoulos or Nick Fuentes, like they both grifted their way across. Brett Cooper was pretty genuine, so it depends on what her start is. I mean, she is a genuine talent, yes. She's a good face. But I don't know. It's not like a Candace Owens situation. Candace Owens was sheerly toxic. So, and I don't remember hearing or seeing anything about Brett Cooper being at odds because she was supposed to be in a lot of productions with
I think now she's only in Pendragon, or I don't know, like the TV show that we're talking about. I think the Snow White thing is dead now that she left the Daily Wire. I don't think Snow White will happen, or they will recast. I don't know.
But you never, as I say, you never kind of know why they reorganize talent. Like, it could be anything. Because a lot of the Daily Wire's people are mainly editorial people, as I said. But I don't think she was forced out because normally you usually hear something about, and we'd have to see on the tweets, but I have to look into it. I never heard anything bad about her. It wasn't like Crowder or any of the others you heard had a scandal or borderline whatever. Because that's why, like, ultimately Candace Owens was forced out. Candace Owens had the One Truth King thing, went at odds with Ben Shapiro and everything else. So she may have just left on her own or found a better opportunity. So
My guess, she wanted more money, and Daily Wire didn't value her enough, and she left. That's my guess, but I don't think she really wanted to leave. I really think she got forced out. Maybe not the same way like Candace Owen or the others, because you said it. There's no controversy. She didn't do or say anything wrong, but I mean,
so this says the current personalities and co-founders: Ben Shapiro, Michael Knowles, Matt Walsh, Andrew Clavin, Jordan Peterson, and Reagan Conrad. And then there's a host of Crane and Company: Jake Crane, Bland Cran, and David Crone. Former is Candace Owens and Brett Cooper.
yeah.
So there's only two former, and those are the current. Now, there could have been room, it could have been money. But it's hard to speculate because I suspect there's probably NDAs. But
Yeah.
so don't always jump to say she was forced out. Because if she was just an editorial positions go before, like, a lot of people, it's easier to let go of them than the others.
Yeah.
And it's not like she's going to have a bad time. I mean, she has, like, see, there was the other person I was thinking of. She, like, left the Blaze, and she instantly had a internet following. So
Yeah.
But then again, let me do some research while we go over this too.
But it's kind of sad because again she delivers that message, and I've seen lots of coverage about that prior, and she doesn't seem happy, and she it's not the kind of message she's like yeah, I will move on to the next part of my life. It's more like I'm saying goodbye to something I care about because I do think she cared about that a lot. But yeah, I guess we will play the
She
rest.
gained what, 600? She got 600,000.
She has a following for sure.
When
And
she did her private YouTube, if she got 600,000, that's like the VTuber start. Like
yeah,
when VTuber starts, that means you have a good base.
yeah. And to add more, like we will get back to it later, but like the numbers on that channel are kind of bad since she left. So yeah, just saying that was maybe a bad
It
idea
wasn't a
from
good
day one.
idea. And the problem is, and I'm going to be honest, the problem with conservative leaning organizations is it's not the media literacy that kills them. It's you can only do so much before you start looking funny or you relate. You need younger bodies or younger faces to exactly go with the crowd. And Daily Wire was kind of part of the media revival of a lot of conservatives online. It allowed them to push back against the leftists and like the Voshes.
Yeah.
So that's why it was probably dumb. So if she was leaving, you never know too. And it's kind of like it could have been a creative control, but we never know.
Yeah.
helping to craft the show, building this community, and telling stories and sharing the truth every day. Through the comment section, you all have made me braver, more articulate, more thoughtful, more hopeful than I could have ever imagined. And I'm grateful that we spent this time together. And I'm grateful that the Daily Wire gave us a platform to grow this community. But at this point in my life, I am ready to take on a new direction, both personally and professionally. This means
I think this is actually true. That part here right now, she's ready to go somewhere else. Maybe that part is actually genuine and true. Any thoughts on that, D Lord?
Apparently, she has an advertising agency.
That's interesting.
So she has another business lined up. And the thing is, maybe there was conflict.
Maybe.
And so a lot of these, right? You would have to look at the PR of why someone leaves.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking over. So you just
new challenges and new endeavors, which I will share with you soon. As for this show, the comment section will continue with the Daily Wire. My producer, Reagan, is taking over as host of the comment section, and I wish her and the Daily Wire all the best. We have had 3 great years, and I am proud of what we've accomplished together. Leaving the show and the platforms that we've built is hard, but I'm very excited for what's to come. Knowing that we have brought so many people together in laughter over these last 3 years means the world to me. I appreciate all of you, so let's chat again soon. But in the meantime, go touch some grass, kick some rocks, and we'll catch up shortly. And now, for some final thoughts from the God King himself, Jeremy Boring.
Bittersweet indeed.
So I gotta pause there and timestamp this because I've seen that video there, and that's the boss, right? That's the boss of Daily Wire, or one of the owners. Am I right on that, D Lord? D Lord, am I right on that?
Repeat what you said.
He is one of the bosses there right now. The guy on the screen, right?
Who is it?
Guy with glasses, gray hairs.
Ooh.
Come back to StreamYard. I
see
pause
it.
on his face. Is one of the boss there? I
Uh-huh.
think that's one of the bosses. I might be wrong, but I think that's one of the bosses.
I'll have to look it up because it doesn't look like Andrew Clavin or any of them.
So if it's one of the bosses, that message that will follow is very
Rewind
fake.
it a little bit. Rewind it a little.
Personally and professionally. This means new challenges and new endeavors, which I will share with you soon.
rewind
As for
it.
this show, the comment section will continue with the Daily Wire. My producer, Reagan, is taking over as host of the comment section.
Reagan caught That's Reagan Conrad.
Yeah.
So that's Reagan. It's Reagan Conrad. He's a main personality. But
No, I was mentioning the guy there on
And
the
I wish her
stream
and the
that
Daily
will
Wire all the
show
best.
up
We have had
very
3
soon.
great years, and I am proud of what we've accomplished together. Leaving the show and the platforms that we've built is hard, but I'm very excited for what's to come. Knowing that we have brought so many people together in laughter over these last 3 years means the world to me. I appreciate all of you, so let's chat again soon. But in the meantime, go touch some grass, kick some rocks, and we'll catch up shortly. And now for some final thoughts from the God King himself, Jeremy Boring.
Bittersweet indeed.
Yeah, this guy.
We're sad to see Brett go,
right
but
now.
we're excited to see her take the next step in her journey. Brett's an amazing talent, both as a personality and as an actress.
So I think that this is one of the bosses, and I'm like, why did you let her go then? If you
what did
really
they say the
believe
name
that,
was?
Jeremy
The God
Bowen.
King himself, Jeremy Boring.
Bittersweet indeed.
That's one of the bosses, right?
Jeremy Boeing.
Yeah. Don't know how they spell his name or whatever, but I think that's one of the bosses. I might be wrong, but
Jeremy Boring.
We're sad to see.
Yeah, he's one of the founders. He's the other co-founder of the Daily Wire.
so I was right to say
Jeremy
it's one of the
Boring,
bosses.
Boreing, like boring hole, basically.
Yeah.
That is the other co-founder. Yes.
So now it sounds so fake because we all play that part, but like it feels just off. It feels like PR move to look good.
Brett go, but we're excited to see her take the next step in her journey.
All of you, so let's chat again soon.
Why did you play it again?
Sorry, go back. I just want to see
But in the meantime, go touch some
Bruh.
grass, kick some rocks, and we'll catch up shortly. And now for some final thoughts.
I'm looking at body
from the
language.
God King himself, Jeremy Boring.
Bittersweet indeed. We're sad to see Brett go, but we're excited to see her take the next step in her journey.
And I gotta say, I heard like Reagan took like acting classes, and that makes sense because you watch a Reagan video and a Brett Cooper video side by side, and
Well, most
outside
of
of the
them
looks-
are. Sorry, most of them are media trained. Like, most of them are all media trained. So anyone who's media trained is going to have PR. The problem is any organization, right? That's what I was going to try to see about the body language. Sorry to rewinding it. The idea is body language. This is like your generic, like, very well put out message, but you got to see in the body language, Multi, because some of it, if it's genuine, or you would know if it's hostility. Because a lot of these are just canned responses, to be honest.
yeah.
Brett's an amazing talent, both as a personality and as an actress.
That's genuine.
It's been a pleasure to see her bring the comment section to life these last 3 years, and her performance in the Pendragon cycle is sensational. I'm certain that whatever Brett creates next will be filled with the same joy and laughter and heart that she's brought to all of her work at the Daily Wire. And we wish her nothing but the best.
So, my friends, while I have you here, I thought we could run it back one last time with the comment section.
Okay, so enough of that part. Do you really think they are sad to let her go?
I mean, if Daily Wire has been the okay, so there's at this rate there's only 2 people prior out, and that is Brett Cooper and Candace Owens. Candace Owens is mired in her own controversy, right?
Yeah.
So Brett Cooper, it all depends why she leaves. It wouldn't surprise me if she probably has other opportunities. Like, it wouldn't surprise me one bit if she pops up either in her own stuff or she joins someone like The Blaze or she joins Fox News or something. Like, it's very easy for a person like her. So for her to leave, it's hard to speculate without saying, oh, it's doomsday why she left. Because me, as a person who understands in PR, every company is going to do the PR move and say why someone left. Like, any major personality leaves, they're always, the first thing that's going to happen is, oh, you lost a major personality, right?
Yeah.
Like, to this day, as I said, I go back to Fox News when the Rogers Ailes lawsuit was settled. That's immediate. When they lost their longtime law correspondent person, who was the 9 o'clock spot or 10 o'clock for the East Coast, she just quit the same day. No ifs, ands, or buts. She just quit. Out of rage, they didn't stop her, and then they filled her position in. That was a rage quitting, and that was as a result of the settling of that lawsuit. With Brett Cooper leaving the Daily Wire, you're not seeing anything. Maybe it's her contract was close to being up, and they give her that. Because I've also seen, like, why did Glenn Beck leave Fox News a long time ago? Right around the time it was creative control differences. He didn't say that publicly, but it was also the fact he left while he still had a good relationship with Fox News, and he carried his base over, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, and he had another company he was running too. He started The Blaze. So are we going to say that they haven't done that? And it's really hard to say with this without actual evidence, because rumors will run rampant. I mean, you could easily say Cavuto leaving Fox News recently, and he was not the Trump poster child, though Trump forced him out. No one said that. Cavuto's been in the industry for 40 years. He's an old man. You want to retire. You do not want to be in the news forever. You don't want to be like Bill O'Reilly. Bill O'Reilly was saying, I'm blessed to be around in the news for a while, but he's one of the last journalists, if that makes sense. So,
Yeah.
like,
So I guess you can share the second video, and as a premise to what comes next here, we will react to someone reacting to a message from Regan Cousin, and the main reason is I am a bit too lazy to really search for the source, the video itself. But we will be reacting to a reaction here, and that's the cousin speaking on Regan behalf. So Regan is like the new Brett on the comment section, and I gotta start by saying we cannot really take her that seriously because she is biased. That's her cousin. She won't speak shit about her cousin. So take anything that will be said with a grain of salt.
I'll
It's
say
like,
this. Usually people's shows that are a co-hosted show, like, you could do, any person online who you see in media stuff can do well-rehearsed, unless the personality is a giant personality that carries a show. Let's say like Hannity and Combs years ago. Like, most people, it was Combs that balanced out Hannity, but they chose not to fill in anybody with a co-host. But it's interesting that they took the comment section, the show, and they immediately replaced her. Now, that meant this transition was lined up months ago.
but
You
I
just-
also gotta say that you cannot really replace her because let's be honest,
No, you
the
can't.
numbers are shit now that Brett is no longer
No.
involved.
It's the radio. Most conservative organizations or that type stuff operate like a radio. The jock that comes in after, like, when Howard Stern left one network, a host who usually followed them was supposed to fail, but he didn't. You need a personality. And not everyone just transitions to following a personality.
Yeah. And yeah, I guess now it's time to react to this.
Person who should have been in her corner and could have changed the narrative sit back and stay completely silent.
It covered the whole situation from beginning to end from Reagan's perspective. Now, if you want me to cover that, hit the like button and let me know in the comment section. Subscribe if you got any value from this video, and catch you next time.
Haha, jokes on you. I actually found the original video, and it is written by Brett Cooper.
Is it normal it's lagging like that?
If it came from the source, I would assume. You never know. Their upload is different.
On Reddit, I don't know what account this is, but it's a subreddit dedicated to conversations about Brett Cooper, and it says, I guess no one caught this video, but a select few before she deleted it. And I actually did go to her TikTok, re.conrad, and I couldn't find the video. So
TikTok, I gotta say, because TikTok is actually the source, TikTok is the hellscape. It's poison, it's brain rot. I said it. TikTok should no longer exist.
TikTok is, say, the rumor is ByteDance is going to sell, is looking for. See, technically, it is facing a ban in the U.S. for. If people don't know, TikTok is been ordered to be sold because, at least by its parent organization, because it was Chinese propaganda or linked and had some SEC violations. Meaning, like, they've talked about having Elon buy it, but technically the sale date of that is supposed to come up within the end of this month or next month, because it is facing a ban. But a lot of people use TikTok to get information out quicker. It's junk food. It's used for us as junk food, or easier way. It's not, it has more brain rot, but a lot of the viral videos you see come from TikTok.
That platform should not exist. I said it.
It's
somebody
not
posted this here, and it's 30 days ago, so let's go and check it out.
I've watched the internet completely rip my... Over the past week or so, I have watched the internet completely rip my cousin to shreds over something that is the furthest thing from her fault. And I've watched the...
Well, I gotta say, from the start, I will say it's not only on Reagan's fault, it's also the Daily Wire, it's everyone involved, and it's also Reagan's fault. It's everyone's fault. She accepted the job. And it's a bit sad that she gets a lot of hate for it. I think it's a bit unfair to hate the face, but it's a normal reaction. People would rather hate something they see than the corporation or the thing behind it.
Hate the they don't like the look. The problem is, when you remember what I said, whenever you lose a major personality, there is always a speculation why said personality left.
Yeah.
It's as I said, when Howard Stern left one network, the next person who was supposed to follow him was supposed to fail. He wound up not failing. Replacing a major host isn't always the easiest thing to do. In media now, why do you think it's like when TMZ style reporting happens? Oh, person left the show, he's unhappy, like whatever else. They're unhappy with, oh, ex-producer was a toxic piece of shit. But that's the thing. The whole thing happens of, there's always unless the person gives a good sign off, it's like someone's always speculating why someone leaves. Always on social media, they go. And the problem is Brett Cooper faces as well. She is talented, but she is seen as the conservative darling and probably liberal people. Like, she had a position in a conservative network. It's not like she's going to go fully mask off and go, oh, I'm just going to go talk to Sam Cedar or something like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
There's
But-
always going to be some speculation.
But I gotta add this and repeat myself on something. I feel like Regan has a role to play. That's not entirely her fault. She's the face of it, but she's the one that also accepted the job. So she's not like white as snow. She has her fault and responsibility in all of that. So yeah, I don't know. It's just cousin sister taking her cousin defense, which is normal.
It's the game
But-
of telephone, too. You hear only that, and you're bound by NDAs. And
Yeah.
let's say your family member breaks. Let's assume you told your cousin the real reason you left. It could violate, because you do not want to violate. I can guarantee you, when she left the Daily Wire, there was an NDA.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And she got payment out of it when she left. So, and a family member could just jeopardize that,
Yeah.
especially if her contract was not fully up and she left before the contract was set to expire. That meant that contract still had to be paid out.
Yeah.
So that's probably why the cousin deleted the video. She probably heard and goes, "Ugh." Sorry.
One person who should have been in her corner and could have changed the narrative sit back and stay completely silent. So I, for one,
So why is that? My guess is they're not on good term anymore because of that entire thing. That's why Brett didn't get Regan back. And it's not because she's a vile person. It's not because she's a villain. It's because they are not on good term. And again, we are hearing about a cousin of one of the two persons. So of course that cousin will have bias toward their relative. I don't know, that sounds like she really wants to pin Brett as the bad girl in all of that. And
So you want to? She probably. Here's the thing. Remember, as I said, it's not like when Candace Owens left the Daily Wire. You heard she was a toxic person. You heard about the creative issues. You heard about she had a terrible, like, it wasn't that her personality was bad. I mean, anyone who hires Candace Owens should know what you were hiring. Basically, a person who was toxic potentially to begin with. But it's like with Brett Cooper, right? If the cousin is trying to say, we'll have to see what she says, but like, it's weird to me. Just let it play out and see what she says.
I'm not going to
Because
stay silent, and I'm about to tell you exactly what happened. I suggest that you listen.
I think she is very manipulative in the way she frames it. I will tell you exactly how
that's
how it went.
manipulative framing. That's like,
Yeah.
I know what happened. I'm like,
She didn't sign the NDA. She is outside of that, and she only gets Regan's side, and she's a relative to Regan. So anything she will say will favor Regan. And again, she doesn't really know the entire story. She is blinded. She is biased, and even if she knew the entire truth, and if the entire truth made Regan also one of the bad person involved, why would you tarnish your cousin? So even if that was really what went down, can you
Also-
really believe and trust what a cousin, a relative, has to say on a matter?
see, here's the other problem with the Daily Wire, because even I've heard it over the time recently. And this is with the fallout of the Daily Wire. The Daily Wire is in good shape. Per se, it's hurting currently due to scandals or Matt Walsh's or their editorial style. they've always had some weird management style. So, and people are always going to fan the flame specifically with lies or just manipulation. But no one, as I say, and I have to state this, no one really knows why a person leaves except for the person leaving and if they ever say why they left. It's not like an organization where you can figure, like when Don Lemon left CNN, you can likely guess it was because of scandals and potential accusations. That was a very big departure. But the cousin is always going to have it. And bear in mind, this video was deleted. So
That's interesting. So let's play the rest of it.
This video, and in fact, even share this around because this needs to be spoken about, and Reagan's name
Interesting.
needs to be.
And then she
I'm Riley
deletes it.
Conrad, and my cousin is Reagan Conrad, who works for the Daily Wire. And
That's
has
why,
become-
like, I was a bit confused. Why was she allowed to even do this? I think they are not allowed to talk about this.
And that's true, and that's why that got deleted.
The previous host was Brett Cooper. If you're
Well,
unaware,
you can vent
the
to
internet,
family.
especially Brett Cooper stands, have been up in arms over the fact that Brett Cooper recently decided to leave. There's been a lot of speculation over what happened, why did Brett leave. The speculation unfortunately turned into rumors, and then the rumors were taken and ran with. And then my cousin just began to get hated on, and it's actually crazy the things that people are saying. And I want to set the record straight because unfortunately, while Reagan and Brett were best friends,
When she says, I want to set the record straight, I don't believe that. I think what she wants to do there is to defend her cousin, which is normal. It's normal, it's family, but the simple fact that it's family, you cannot be objective with that. You can only be subjective. You can only have your biased point of view. So I don't think it's setting the record straight as she claimed it is. And
How she
maybe she
claimed-
doesn't realize it.
how she claims that, yes, you do have a family bias. No one is saying you wouldn't have a family bias. But the big deal is, if you vent to a family member, well, there was this experience here I couldn't talk about. Oh, and there was a potential toxic. Remember, as I said, she was potentially bound by an NDA when she left. And if the family member said something, it could make her look bad. But she, from the way the phrasing is, she's defending her family's honor. But it could come off as that. But you can't go say, the biggest problem with stuff like this is the reason why you have a separation gap when people talk about leaving. It's sometimes 6 months to a year. Like, this is why the breakup of the personalities at Fox News, you never truly know why the people leave till they say it. If that makes sense.
Brett has just sat back
It does make sense. I played the wrong thing.
and watched this happen to Reagan. And in fact, she removed all of her posts with Reagan on Instagram and eventually unfollowed her too, which obviously made the internet even more skeptical of Reagan. And it's just plain wrong because Reagan has done.
I don't think it's wrong if they are not on good terms. And this is what went down. And maybe Brett got backstabbed, but if that happened, and again, it's just speculation what I am doing here because I'm an outsider. I have no idea what really went down, and I don't think that cousin either knows exactly what went down. But the point is more like, if Brett got backstabbed, there's nothing wrong on unfollowing someone that backstabbed you. Just saying, just put this out there. Let's just play the rest.
Absolutely nothing but support Brett her entire.
Support Brett.
Really?
Again, that's biased.
Really?
That's
Daily Wire
bias.
decides to fire your best friend and they offer you the job and you're the maid of honor of her in her wedding, and then you say, yeah, fuck all of that, I'm gonna take the money and do it. Nothing wrong.
I think she pointed out to something very valid. Um, is there no wrong done? I think only the two person involved can tell. And
To
yeah,
be honest, only I go back and say in legal matters, only people, only a. It's kind of like I go back to the Doctor Disrespect leaving Twitch thing. Only a handful of people for years knew the actual thing, and if you know how the media industry kind of works, only a handful of people know, unless there's a scandal, unless somebody breaks silence, or you hear a story. There was a creative decision that was different. You have no way of saying, like, for sure. And as I said, it's been a weird transition for the Daily Wire, and a lot of organizations have been smelling blood. So any chance to get back at the Daily Wire, you can get away with it. And no one ever says a corporate run company is not scummy. When they let someone go and they're like, well, but I feel good here. I'm like, it's never good firing someone, but you give them a way out.
that's true. That's true.
Nothing, no loyalty whatsoever. If you have no loyalty, you have to accept the consequences, and these are the consequences of what is happening.
Your career at the Daily Wire so far, it's rubbing me the wrong way. I'm about to talk. Here's what really happened. Brett chooses to leave over reasons that legally I don't believe I am allowed to say, so I'm not going to touch on them. And honestly, that's Brett's story. But moral of the story, Brett decided to leave. 100% Brett's decision. And Brett...
Maybe not. Again, that story is brought by a cousin that has a bias, and even if that was true, and maybe that's because of that statement that she needed to remove the video, because maybe it's true, but maybe it's not. Again, I think we need to go back to what I said earlier. Take anything the cousin will say like a grain of salt. She's a cousin. She could be lying there. It's not because she's a relative that what she will say is the truth or what really happened. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. Let's just play the rest.
Brett said that herself, although people aren't believing that. I do understand the circumstances are a little weird, but Brett chose to leave. That is what you need to know.
It's not a little weird, like a little bit more, and she was crying while saying goodbye on the video we covered a few minutes ago, and I think if she really left, she wouldn't have like unfollowed everyone, and that sounds like someone that's not really happy if they just close all doors, and if she unfollows Regan. I don't know, like it's telling. It's probably because they don't get along anymore. But she won't say that because that's Regan's cousin, and she wants to place her cousin under a good light, which is normal, and the kind of thing we would do.
There must be a reason. Okay, there must be a reason. She was already in so many things working with the company. It wasn't only her channel that she created, it was also her working on Snow White and other projects as well. Just stopping all of that and moving away from it for whatever reason, like there is another reason. You can still decide to leave a company by yourself, but be made to leave it. Like they could pressure you until
I think the content creator there makes a very fair and valid point there. Any thoughts on that, D Lord?
No, She does. And I'm also just looking up Brett's Twitter right now to see if there's anything. I think there's going to be a gap in her content because, see, literally, she had just gotten married and maybe they want to start a family. So, like, and again, I go back to saying you have no idea why a person leaves. And I highly doubt that she would, why a person would leave. And as I say, I take most sources with a grain of salt till the actual person talks about it. No one's going to act like the people who are the head of the Daily Wire are the best people. I mean, I've heard stories about the executives there. Sometimes they're very robotic, and I can pretty much say certain far creative individuals like Ben Shapiro, yeah, he could probably have a stick up his ass half the time. But from what I'm seeing, since she left, she's just been chilling at home, resting and recuperating. So if someone says she left in distress, I mean, unless it's a massive PR op, I mean, nothing strikes me as 100% off.
Yeah. Let's hear more about this.
Anymore, and you have to leave. So you're not fired. You did it yourself, but they pressured you into doing it. You know what I mean?
No. And the rest of the story I'm about to tell you. So here's where Reagan's part comes in. Reagan was the producer of the comments section. Like I said, they were best friends. So whenever Brett decides to leave, Brett recommends to the Daily Wire that Reagan step in and be the substitute host.
If that was the case, Brett would have made a tweet about it. Brett should have said something. She would have been on one of those videos. They would all agree. I don't think Daily Wire would be like, no, we don't want to have you on a video with Reagan. They would, with open arms, allow it. They were like, yeah, let's go, let's do this, because they know the consequences of not doing it.
Of time. So
I think most of her statement makes sense, except for they know the consequence. They clearly didn't, because look at the backlash.
Do you remember what I said? Do you remember what I said about when you transition to a new personality?
Yeah.
Like, they didn't set up the transition well. Like, if Brett Cooper was actually going to be leaving, right?
Yeah.
Bear in mind, hypothetical scenario, you knew she was leaving. You would say, I'm being replaced, or there's going to be a new host, new co-host, and I wish the best to them.
Yeah.
But then again, maybe the company didn't think about it. That's why the speculation ran rampant. And you just bring in, think of it as like why people hate Riri Williams versus Tony Stark. She just got introduced in a comic 2 issues prior. Then they go, oh, this is your new Tony Stark. No, fans will hate it, right?
Yeah.
Like, who is this person? We don't know who this person is.
Right? Exactly.
And we got to go, and you're now a face. The way the Daily Wire should have handled this is they should have said, okay, Brett Cooper's leaving, but we are going to have a new person lined up.
Yeah.
But that's PR. You know, I know how to handle PR. That's usually what I do half the time.
Okay. Reagan, with her friend's blessing, decides that she is going to do this, and she loved it. Reagan has always loved the Daily Wire, while Brett...
Another thing, Brett Cooper blessing, I don't think so. I don't think so, because even in the message from Brett, she doesn't really say anything about Reagan. She she unfollowed Regan. So if that was really Brett's blessing, why didn't we hear it from Brett? I mean, they were friends, right? So I think we can poke hole to what the cousin is
You
saying
can poke
right now.
holes, but this is where you're not going to get into speculation. She unfollows. I mean, people unfollow. I mean, to be honest, the unfollowing is probably worse. I mean, but maybe it's a transition. I mean, some people don't. I'm going to be honest with you. Some people don't handle breakups well. Like, when you're talking about leaving a section of your life, like, you would know if something is really, really bad. Like, I don't know how much you knew about when Crowder's show broke up. Like, oh, the producer said stuff, unfollow. So it may have just been a poorly handled thing, honestly. Without further
Decided to step
details, I
away.
wouldn't speculate.
Regan has always really enjoyed her time there, and
You know what I think it happened there in my opinion, I think what happened is that Brett was testing Regan. As friendship goes, she was like, okay, I give you my blessings. I'm not going to stop you of doing something you want to do. But honestly, in her heart, she was thinking, like, if she does this to me, like, I would be heartbroken. And
So maybe that's a fair point, but maybe not, because I think that YouTuber I don't think that YouTuber knows Regan and Brett, so it's just speculation there. I think that should be taken like a grain of salt again, but that thought process is kind of cool. But again, she is not related to any of the people involved, so take it lightly. Don't take it too seriously, but that could be something, you know? That's something.
See, I would say, let's say the comment section, the comment section, right? Let's say they knew Brett Cooper was leaving, but they have another co-host, another person who can take over the position, or they can be intern. They don't want to phase the show out and go, oh, this is the last part of this, right? But they go, oh, but this will be the person filling in. Then maybe they either you have one or two options when one of your main personality leaves. Can the show, or do a transition period, and have another co-host. Does that make sense in media?
Yeah, it does.
Because if it was, oh, that producer takes over, right? Maybe he's the fill-in, and they're deciding what to do with the show.
that she chose money over friendship.
personally have witnessed how much Regan loves to do research on Republican media. She loves all things Republican news. So this was perfect for her. I've watched her grow and flourish with the Daily Wire, and she has literally just stepped into each position full force, and she absolutely loved her time being able to be the substitute host. However, that being said, Regan wanted them to continue searching for other hosts that could actually step in full time. So she's the substitute host while they're doing this search, and they decided they didn't like any of the other host options. They wanted Regan.
You're outside. You are Regan's cousin. I doubt. I highly doubt that's really what went down. How would she know? Maybe Regan told her, but that would be a mistake. I don't know. I don't know. Let's hear out the rest.
So the Daily Wire reaches out and offers the position to Regan. Now Regan is stuck between a rock and a hard place. Brett has told Regan that she wants Regan to come with her, to leave the Daily Wire with her. And she told her that she could be her producer. However, that being said, it would be months before Brett knew of what she wanted Regan to exactly be doing. It would be months until Regan got paid by Brett. And also, Regan...
I think that part might be true, and that might be one of the many symptoms of what went down. But again, it's coming from a cousin. Take it with a grain of salt. Any thoughts,
So,
D Lord?
what she is describing potentially is what I said. Remember what I said earlier? Brett Cooper says she was going to leave, so you need to have a replacement lined up potentially. If you think about it.
Yeah.
Now, how the transition was handled could have been handled very sloppily. But if the Daily Wire chose just to stick her in there permanently, means one of two things. Either they're complacent with it, or that was the plan from the beginning.
My guess, that was the plan from the beginning.
Or they settled. They could have just settled with a fill-in replacement. And
Reagan is cheaper and she knows how the show went down.
Right. So, cheaper, and you already have a person you feel could step into the role. Which, in the cousin, let's say this cousin, right, is a goes, oh, that does this and pay. Because, so from what what she said was, it was already lined up that she was paid or going to get the thing. Because she was a leading candidate. And I guess the other candidates didn't pan out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Would not be getting as much pay from Brett, that's for sure. The Daily Wire is able to pay her a great sum of money. Brett wouldn't be able to pay her quite as much. While Brett is doing quite well for herself, it wouldn't be able to be quite as much. So Reagan would be taking a significant pay cut. Now, my cousin is doing fantastic in life, but I don't know about you. Most people cannot just take several months off of work and then also take a massive pay cut when they have expenses.
She's kind of right, but I feel like she's playing on people's emotions and how they can relate to humanize more her cousin.
It could also be a pay issue. If it is literally a pay issue, she's going to be making less than Brett anyways, because Brett was a proven talent.
Reagan is not.
No one knows who you are. Does that make sense?
So,
it does make sense, yeah.
All of that considered, along with the fact that Reagan loves what she's doing, she believes in the Daily Wire, and she really enjoys being in front of the camera. She loves it. You can watch, guys. Like, everybody's accusing her of having acting classes. I can tell you, that is how Reagan's always been. That's how she's always spoken.
Here, I can smell lies. And someone I've seen covering this made a lot of sense. I don't know if it's the current person we are covering right now, but someone said, but in the front of the camera, you are different than in person. It's goddamn true, and I'm the living example. In my day-to-day life, I speak French. I don't speak English, and I try my best to be entertaining.
I'd have to see. I'd have to see what her performance looks like. I can guarantee you, before she took over the position, they gave her, like, saying that she has, like, acting or media training, right? They're going to give you some guidance before they shove you into the position. They're not just going to shove you in front of a camera. They're going to do, test here, test there, and they're going to make sure you know how to speak, or you have to. So, or if, let's say, you're nervous, you're not coming off as nervous or weird.
Yeah, but what you're saying is normal and true, but here's the thing. I don't know if you've seen any of Reagan's video, but side by side with Brett, you cannot tell them apart outside of their looks. It's just the same thing with a different skin. That's how it is, and it's sus. It's weird. Like, even if they are best friends, there's no way in hell they would think and speak the same and have the same gesture and the same positioning and the same body language and the same kind of attitude and charisma. It's just impossible. And I have many best friends. in the past and such, because I wasn't always the more I wasn't always the best friend
They are
ever, but
related.
I am many.
You said they're related, right?
Yeah,
Like, if she's duplicating like the body language, because I'm looking at it, if she is duplicating the body language, but she doesn't have the charisma or the face for it, like, I'd have to
watch a Brett video side by side with a Reagan. You won't see a difference outside of their skin, and that's a big issue, because even with the explanation the cousin has, it doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. Uh, I never became just like one of my friends. It just doesn't happen in real life, and even there, in front of the camera, you are a different person because you try to be as entertaining and interesting as it can be. Uh, you want charisma when you film yourself and such, so you won't act the way you act in front of the camera and in person. It just makes sense.
Yes,
in
maybe
a
they have
lot
some-
of stuff you could tell like she's new. She looks like she's reading from a teleprompter. Like, but she is trying to mimic Brett. I can see why they say it's creepy.
Yeah, and it doesn't add up, and the cousin will try. And I say try to defend
The
it.
problem is, and I don't know if this is the contacts. She doesn't have the other. You can tell she's still relatively new and she's reading a teleprompter or something.
Yeah.
I'm looking at a video and you can see that she's looking at something like lights or a television screen, and it shows.
It does.
She's trying to act like her cousin, but the thing is, Brett Cooper has a more serious, like, normal. It could be acting, but it is weird. Like, I'm not saying she can't do research, but it's that really weird. She's not a charisma vacuum, but she's learning to do it. But the question is, can she embrace it? Because you'll have to see like 3 months from now, but she is doing a lot of reading of teleprompters. Because even if you look at Brett Cooper's videos, you never saw whatever she was reading. She could read something and memorize it.
That's true.
Does that make sense? But it
Yes,
is
it does.
creepy how during this period, till she becomes herself, she is mirroring Brett.
They've been best friends. Who of you has a best friend and
No.
doesn't start kind of talking like
I have best friends and I don't speak like them. We are not the same person just because we are best friends. We know them really well. We know when they are sad. We know when they are happy because we know that how their voices sounds like, how their manners.
And I will
are
add
like,
more.
but we are
That
not them,
also
okay?
implies
We
to
don't act
brother
like
and
them. Like,
sisters.
I don't know. Is that just me?
that.
Can you
We
not
don't
have the
usually
same mannerism as
The
your
acting
brother or
classes,
sister?
rumor,
Not necessarily.
it's
You're a
just that.
different
It's a rumor.
person.
Reagan has never had acting classes. She literally just does speak that way. That's how she is.
Eee,
Anyways, you can tell
I
she loves it.
smell
She
the
loves being in
lie.
front of the camera.
Also, your personality on camera and off camera is not the same, okay? You are the same person. However, on camera, you sound different, whether you are trying to speak more fluently so others can understand you, or you're trying to be more energetic or more calm, depending on your vibe, okay? Depending on the vibe of the channel that you are creating. Me speaking like this, and of course it's because I speak English and I speak other languages with other people, but me speaking like this and with my friends is different. I speak differently with my friends, it's not like I acting or whatever. It's just it is a part of the job. It's a part of the content creation that you do. So Brett, I'm sure off screen and on screen she doesn't speak the same. She puts a professional face on and she goes and does the work. So why would then Regan have the same mannerism as Brett when
Because they took acting classes. Regan is not Regan. Regan is blonde Cooper.
Oh, my sweet summer child. You never seen the transition that they did through Fox's stuff. When they started replacing people, the editorial staff, some of them all started sounding the same because they all were almost around each other constantly. And like, even before Tucker Carlson was, the ones stood out before, but a lot of them looked like there was like the period, the meme of Fox News. All the anchors or the fill-in correspondents were all blonde or cookie cutter-ish. So the idea that you don't give them training or similarity, that can happen. Multi.
I was searching for the comment section again because after that reaction to that clip right now, we will just take a quick look to the viewership of the channel.
I mean,
that's not how Brett speaks off screen? You know, like if we go and check Brett maybe in some private videos that she made, maybe on TikTok or on her private Instagram or something, then maybe we can compare that to Regan's.
She decides, even though she's between a rock and a hard place and does not want to offend Brett, she decides to take the position because she's meant for it, guys. I don't know
If
how
she
to
was
explain
meant
to you.
for it,
I've watched
the
her
numbers
grow
would
over
tell.
the course of her time there. And she used to be so afraid to speak up about her views. She actually came to me at one point when I was starting to do so.
I mean, she has her own channel, okay? She could have kept uploading on her channel. Nobody stopped her. Why did she not do that? Why did she not start her own channel? She literally just took over something that someone else worked hard on.
Social media, and I was always talking about being a Republican and talking about my views. She came to me and said, Rye, how do you do that? Like, how do you unashamedly talk about your views and not worry about offending people? And I was just like, you can't worry about it. Like, you gotta be true to yourself. She grew from that
You gotta be true to
over the
yourself.
course of the Daily Wire.
I don't know. Maybe that's genuine, that part. But if she is the way the cousin says she is, maybe Regan is not fit for that kind of job, because I feel like Brett, if that works very well, it's because she wasn't shy about stepping up and telling what she believes. Well, Regan is more like, yeah, I don't know how people will take it. I'm scared of how people may react. So from the get-go, that tells they are different people, which is normal. So if there are different people, why would they get the same mannerism, or I don't know how to call it.
It's probably, from what I see in the views, it is definitely because a lot of conservative media functions very similar to a radio format more than the editorial. Let's assume that's what the position they're taking. The viewership started off that, but it's not like it's bad. So like 21 hours ago, like she's getting like 29, depending on the topic. Like one video, it was trending, she got 42, 55, and then 36. So it's a video a day. So Brett Cooper was getting a lot more, but her final, she was getting like, if she transitioned over with 600,000 and Regan's the fill-in, like she's getting, depending on it, the topic, she has like one video 8 days ago that's political, she's getting like 102. So, but then her just basic stuff like what Brett Cooper did, she basically is getting 40 to like 55,000 max. So it's not like she doesn't have the same charisma for the side stories, which she could just be the fill-in casualty for Brett Cooper leaving. That's the biggest problem.
I don't think the numbers will ever rise up, except if you bring back Brett. But I think that boat is sinking, so I think it's done. They lost the following. They have dead subs.
If the comment section was Brett Cooper's stuff, it's hard. As I said, it's hard to replace a personality if it's the main personality.
Yeah.
It can never be the same.
Yeah.
And the whole thing of, I don't know if her stepping into the comment section is just a thing helped her out, because it doesn't do it any justice. Because it's like, well, break a leg. It's not like break a leg. She was literally handed a platform. And to be honest, I guess they did not want to transition the platform.
Yeah.
And they just use her. We'll see if the views, they may not be as high as when she was there, but, you know.
Being able to completely speak up about her feelings, speak up about what she knows, and be such a solid voice for Republicans, especially.
If that who she was and Daily Wire saw the talent she has, they would not have let her go if she asked for a new channel or a rebrand, instead of just putting herself there and taking over everything that was Brett. You know, the same name, the same studio, even the same auto-tune on the mic or whatever they are using, the same format, the same camera angles. They put a different cup. You know, it's on the same position where Brett's cup is, where she always drinks her coffee. Or
It's the same show, but it's not, because it's Reagan and not Brett. It's like a downgrade. It's like the DLC that's actually worse than the original game.
No, she's mimicking her. The thing is, to keep the same formula, she is mimicking her.
Yeah.
Trying to. And that's the weird part. Does it work long term?
Not so far. So far, it doesn't. I'm sorry, but the
It's
numbers
not.
are telling.
I know the numbers aren't. People are seeing it because it's not the same. She's pulling in roughly half of whatever she was pulling.
Less than that. That's generous, I think.
Depends.
whatever. You know, like, they changed a couple of books in the background. As if we will, like, what? We will
They
notice
think
these
people
things
are
fast.
gullible
Young
and
female
stupid.
Republicans. She is a huge voice and makes a massive impact. Even as producer, she was doing that behind the scenes.
That's a cousin propping up her cousin because she wants her cousin to succeed, and it's normal. It's fine, but we cannot take that seriously. I'm sorry, but no.
She was doing that on her Instagram stories. So those of you accusing her of just stealing this role, she's meant for it. You just haven't given her a chance.
I'm sorry, but first of all, she didn't steal it, but she didn't earn it either. She was placed there. She didn't earn anything. She doesn't deserve that following. It's not because you have that belief. It's not because you worked behind the scene that you deserve it. You don't. Brett is the one that built the audience. Brett is deserving of that audience. So here I strongly disagree with what the cousin says.
It's what comes off as disingenuous stuff. She's propping it up. But in reality, what's happening to the comment section is Brett built that audience.
Yeah.
Whoever was going to follow her that is not that audience, not that person, is going to suffer.
That's true.
And the reason why it's the same cookie cutter formula is because that formula is what was created for Brett. They have to go with it. By that, I mean they're using the same channel that's already there without starting a new channel. They're doing the whole thing of that the best they can do and use her as a fill-in. Because here's the story. The guy, as I said, Howard Stern, one of the radio people I listened to. I grew up listening to radio. Howard Stern, one of the major national broadcasters, leaves. The guy who followed him was Russ Martin. He was supposed to be dead on arrival, a local guy. Then they'd bring in another co-host, another host to replace him. He wound up doubling Stern's audience. But this is not always the case in the industry. Right?
Yeah.
He became a legend in the area. Because some people are just mediocre. Not everyone. Look at Fox News. All the replacements of the anchors at Fox News. Laura Ingraham doesn't replace a certain audience. Tucker
That's
Carlson did not replace Bill O'Reilly.
That's true as well.
So, Thanksgiving comes around, and Reagan is dealing with this, do I take it, do I not? She wanted to take it so badly, but you should have seen us in the basement of my grandparents' house, her being an emotional wreck, not wanting to upset Brett. That was her only concern. And I said, take away Brett's feelings, what would you do? And she said, I would take it. I would love to take it. But if you include Brett's feelings, she didn't want to hurt her friend. But, that being said, her friend decided to step away. It's different.
It was true up to the point the friend decided to step away. I think there was indeed that struggle between Reagan and Brett, but I think it's more complicated than that. And she wants, as Regan cousin, she wants her cousin to look unscathed and look as white as snow. Take anything that was said like a grain of salt. Again, I said that I don't know how many times.
Different if Reagan shoved her out. It's different if the Daily Wire forced her away. But she didn't. Brett chose to leave, and there was this open position that was then presented to Reagan as, do you want this? After multiple weeks of searching for somebody else. So, Reagan takes the position. And I said to Reagan, if Brett is a true friend, she will still be in your corner. If she is not, then she was never a true friend to begin with. I can understand Brett being hurt. I can understand
I think
Brett wanting Reagan
she
to
wants
fall in a
to
way, but Reagan's her
villainize
own
and
person, and she
demonize
is
Brett.
I don't think Brett is such a mean person. This is what she said is like, yeah, Brett should have supported her as a friend, but she didn't because she's mean and she doesn't want the best for her best friend, her maid of honor. She wants her to not succeed. She wants to see her demise. Like, no, I don't see Brett being that person. Why are we portraying her as such?
meant for this role.
I think the why, and maybe I go too far with that, but I think the why is make someone else look worse than they are, so Reagan actually looks better, and put down others so you can elevate yourself. This is basically what's going on there. Any thoughts, the Lord?
I would say, from what I'm seeing, is in the short term, the Daily Wire decided to do the fill-in position, and they chose somebody who was going to potentially fail, who happened to be a friend of the person they had a while. Now, this is just my theory. From what I've seen with media organizations, it's just not working out. And the backlash is always going to be, you're not as good as the original. And the cousin's like, yeah, I want to defend my family, but you don't poison the well like that. But if it is true that she unfollowed Reagan, it doesn't mean a death sentence. But if you're framing it as Brett Cooper is selling her up the river, that would be a different story. If Brett literally says, come watch me instead, it just means that the audience did not transition with Reagan.
Yeah.
So the comment section is the comment section without Brett Cooper.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does.
And then Brett Cooper is going to go start a second channel and probably do fine.
Yeah.
You can't force people to do what you want them to do, and then if they don't do it, stop being their friend. So I was hoping in good
So
faith,
that's
from what I
Brett,
had seen of
okay.
Brett, that Brett would make the right decision and still support Reagan. Well, here's what happened. So obviously Brett puts out that video about stepping away from the Daily Wire and Reagan's going to be a great host, blah, blah, blah. That's all she said. Fair enough. Well, then Brett decides to remove all of the posts on her social media with Reagan. And I was like, that's low, but okay, maybe she's just trying to support Reagan. Maybe she's trying to not let her be in the limelight and not let people find her social media so that she doesn't get hated on. I don't know. Well, then Brett completely unfollows Reagan off of Instagram.
And it's because maybe there's bad blood between them. And
Instagram. Off of Instagram. What the fuck? Instagram is not a real platform either.
yeah. But again, I feel like it doesn't want to save the furniture. I don't know if it's the right word or the right expression, but I think she wants to make her cousin look as good as can be.
Okay, I'm sorry. Only vain people. She goes, oh, Brett unfollowed. I'm like, only on Instagram you got unfollowed? Okay.
Okay.
That's it's not all media, by the way.
Because Reagan always was supporting Brett. Reagan loved Brett, still loves Brett. To be honest with you,
Oh, I love you, but I'm gonna take everything you have created and use it for my own success because, yeah, the company didn't agree with you and didn't make your life easy. But that's your problem, you know?
Not
That's your
mine.
issue that you had to leave. I'm gonna take over now. Like, how you don't understand that that is messed up? You're a friend. You should be loyal. And okay, all right, you need to feed yourself. You need your own bread. Then make sure that you choose the right ways to do it. As I said, new channel, different thing, or even the same channel but different stuff, like completely rebranding, brother.
And to add more on that, I feel like if they kind of rebrand instead of like just the comment section, if they called it Regan section or Regan comment section, maybe that would be better. If Regan didn't try to emulate and copy paste Brett, I think the transition would have been better. I think the transition being that bad is the fact that they thought Brett was only a vessel and only a face, and you can deliver the same message with another face as long as they give it the same way. It just doesn't work like that. The transition was bad because they didn't even try to give Reagan her personality or to let Reagan be Reagan. They only wanted a blonde Brett Cooper.
not reusing, not copying.
The way that she still is so forgiving of this girl is really incredible, because I would have said screw you after all of the things that Brett
Yeah,
has now
I know you would.
The cousin again want to make Reagan look fine. I I don't know, like I don't think Brett is in the wrong, but I don't think Reagan is in the wrong either. I'm outside. I cannot tell who is right, who's wrong, but based on what I heard and what I've seen, maybe, just maybe, Reagan did something wrong. Maybe she shouldn't have taken that job in the first place. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy.
but she's still so loving towards Brett, and in fact has several times on YouTube already in Reagan's first few episodes very vocally supported Brett. She always supported Brett whenever
Oh,
she
brother, if she did it.
did the show, and she was so vocal about the fact that Brett was talented and Brett was a genius and blah blah blah. So I
So
was very
mad.
much hoping that whenever the tables turned and Reagan stepped into the position, that Brett would do the same. Well, instead, since Reagan did not come along with Brett and leave the Daily Wire for Brett, Brett has completely turned on her and allowed the hate to happen, even though Reagan was offered the position fairly and Brett chose to step away. She's allowed the hate to spew and has not come forward and tried to clear Reagan's name, even slightly. So,
But if there's bad blood between them, like, why would she do that? Really, why would she stand up for Reagan if there's bad blood? I don't know. Like, again, I feel like she wants to really demonize Brett to elevate Reagan.
sure, do I think the Daily Wire could have handled this differently and started a
Definitely.
new show?
It's on the
Sure.
Daily Wire.
But the show was never owned by Brett. It was never Brett's show. It's the Daily
That's
Wire
true,
show,
but
hosted
she
by
made it
Brett. There was
work.
actually a host
That's also
before Brett,
true.
although a lot of people don't know that. So, while do
Why a lot of people don't know that? If the show is by Daily Wire and this is what they have created, then why nobody's talking about the first host?
Because the
It's
first
because
host
Brett
was
is
bad.
the one who made it successful. It's because Brett was the reason this show succeeded, not the Daily Wire. She just said it.
I think the Daily Wire could have done things differently and given
Yeah.
a little more room for, I don't know, grieving of Brett leaving? Sure. But the moral of the story is that Reagan's not at fault even slightly, and the internet is disgusting towards Reagan right now, and it's also disgusting how Brett has handled this, because she's just fostered hate towards Reagan, and Reagan has said nothing but support for Brett. So please go subscribe to the comments section on YouTube, and please show your support for Reagan in the comments, because this girl needs loved on. It is horrible to see the hate that's come towards her, and I'm not going to stand for it anymore.
But you're gonna.
Okay, I think we have seen enough, and any thoughts, D-Lord, on everything we covered?
Basically, as I said, I feel like here's the thing. Now to reiterate, like, look, the idea. I'll go back to what I said. Brett Cooper leaves a very well thought out show, even if it was manufactured, built around her. You then get the weird situation where the audience isn't transitioning over. Think of it like, are you familiar with the show 2.5 Men?
Nope.
Okay, it was built around Charlie Sheen. Charlie Sheen had his whole, before his career went down, the whole show was made around him. And then they brought in Ashton Kutcher to replace him. That audience really didn't transition over either for it. So the thing is, the cousin can go say what she wants, or these people can say what they want, but it's ultimately up to the new audience to replace the audience going out. It might be only half, and Reagan, whoever takes over, has to actually step up. And if the Daily Wire just wants to rebrand it, that's usually what I think. Because you can't just replace one major personality that a channel is built around. But also, they're not trying to address the speculation and then say Brett Cooper didn't give the blessing. Because the new audience doesn't always, or the audience that's still subbed, isn't always going to follow.
That's true. And we have seen it in full display. And now that it's been said and told.
Oh, by the way, her new channel, she transitioned over with 587,000.
Wow.
So
strong.
She has no videos at all. Now you can go look at the comment section. The comment section channel. I guess they don't want it to go dead so people forget the channel exists, right?
Yeah.
Go look at it.
Let's just take a look.
Mm-hmm.
This is Brett 2 months ago.
Huh.
I will zoom in on that so people can see vividly. Full screen layout. This is how Zoom actually works.
So her political stories get 600,000. Her little social commentary stuff get 200,000 to
almost 1 million in election night rage letter to delete someone.
That 1.4 million, the 4B movement, right?
Yeah, we go up. The numbers are still kind of good. But look at the first Reagan video. 190. We already see a 500,000 decline.
Yeah.
That's performing very well. But I guess it's because it's trending and not because it's Reagan or something like that. Now we are back with Brett. It's decent, but people didn't expect it, I guess. So 300, 400, almost 600, almost 300. So on average, she gets 300 to maybe 500 in some cases. And now we are back with Reagan, and it's half of it. Another Reagan.
It's not like she hasn't been there until whenever. She was doing videos, so it's not like they dumped her off, I guess, into it to say that she was not doing videos. So they tried to do test videos to see how well she would do. But now that she's fully there,
now we come closer, and the numbers are still kind of good when it's Brett. And then we get 2 Reagan in a row. Not great numbers. Almost half of the usual Brett numbers. And that's very close to Brett numbers. That's probably the best. The best Reagan did, but it's Trump. It's Trump. So
as I said, you're gonna have maybe half the audience transition over, but bear in mind December is actually a really slow month too. So you got to understand, right? The audience isn't, this is why I say give it a bit, but it's then it's on the Daily Wire with what they're going to do with that channel.
If you really look into it right now, these numbers are dropping. It's no longer 200, 300. It's 100 something. It's dropping even for Reagan. And yeah, look at that. The more recent it comes, the worst it stagnates, and now she
So-
struggles to hit 100K.
So, worst comes to worst, she could still do trending videos, right? She
Yeah.
could still do trending videos. 29 in 21 hours on Carrie Underwood, I can understand why. But 42,000 in one
Maybe
day.
2 days. It's 2
Yeah,
days.
in one day, right? Or 2 days. So if she's getting 30, and I'm not gonna lie, like if you're getting 30,000 in the best the Daily Wire can do, because this was clearly the Daily Wire's channel, they're still going to get trending numbers, right?
Yeah.
But they'll still get the clicks, and it's a video a day. So it's not like they're going to lose money, but the question long term, is it just a fill in? Like, but what part did Reagan play in it? Because I'm not going to blame Brett for it. I blame it because she's not a personality. So assume they're getting. Hold on, what does YouTube pay? Let me see a second. Let me see what they say pay per view. I used to actually keep this. Used to have a site for this. But videos, if they're earning, you can kind of see what it is. So hypothetically, right? Just saying, like, we don't know what their deal is. Take what you do not know what their deal is, and you do not know what their ad revenue. Let me see if I can find. Because if, let's say, they're in a top.
But I gotta say, the other thing is, they lost like 500K subs in like a month. They are bleeding out subscribers, and they have a lot of dead subscribers. And it's normal. YouTube has a lot of channels that have dead
YouTube has a lot of
subscribers.
dead subscribers, though.
Yeah, but like it's massive. So I've proved it. Numbers aren't doing well.
What do they call it? The comment section?
Yeah. It's not doing well at all.
Let me see. So when I look, okay, so the comment section, they're gaining. So over, yeah, the views dipped. She got 10 a day. So the 15th got 10, 13th got 10, 11 got 20 in, 10, 20, 30, 20, 10. So they are gaining subs.
No, they had more than this. They are not gaining subs.
Well, this is by Subscribestar. These are actual numbers, so weekly average is about 77 new subs. Now, but compared to the past channel, maybe not. No, let me see. It's the wrong person.
So everything to say, you cannot pretend. You cannot
wrong channel.
say, people love the Daily Wire and will watch anything Daily Wire related. They loved Brett, and they don't really give a crap about Reagan so far. And that's what I think. And I think you should take with a grain of salt anything that we said, because we are not involved, and anything that the cousin said, because she's a cousin. It's a relative. You can't take that seriously. So yeah, I guess it is the time for the outro. What do you have going on your end of the internet?
No, I'm just good. I have stuff going on, so I meant to stream, but I'm going to be starting Kingdom Come Deliverance. I keep saying that, but that's a series. And by the way, I found the Social Blade. Yeah, they were bleeding like 10K a day. Yeah, that's because Brett's left. That is bad.
Yeah, it's really
They're
bad.
bleeding about 10K a day. Last 30 days, they've lost 330. But yeah, me, I'm just doing others, and you'll see me as we review the lovely finale of Skeleton Crew when Mandalore gets better.
Either tomorrow or Saturday. Hopefully Saturday.
I'd wait to see. I want to know what his thoughts are on it.
I didn't watch the final episode yet. I think I will be doing that tomorrow when I wake up. But so we are out very soon. What else do you have going on your end of the internet, D-Lord?
Pretty much. I'm going to try to put some commentary in this month. I've just been under the weather and cold, so it's all wonderful.
Okay. Well, in my end of the internet, a Skeleton Crew will be reviewed at some point this week, either tomorrow or Saturday. I don't know. It depends on Mandalore. Monday, we will talk about Wolfman, a new movie that came out Friday. I will go see that Friday. Tuesday, Red Blue Podcast, where we talk about movies. And we talk about Immaculate and The First Omen. Two are religious movies that came out last year. And next Wednesday, I will be doing a movie tier list of 2024 with Grey Poupe, if he is still available. Hopefully he will be. So that's what's going on next week. Maybe next Thursday we will have another Skeleton Crew thing going on. We will see next week. But with this, we are out tonight. Have a great day, everyone.